Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the CHALL, and welcome to another episode of the WWE Show, your YouTube podcast for all your WWE news and reviews. In today's episode, we're going to be going through Smackdown, NXT Vengeance Day, Raw and NXT, the aftermath of Vengeance Day. And with me, of course, as always, for the WWE Show is, of course, Owen, Stevenage fan, member of Lower League Look, and, of course, wearing the Johnny Wrestling shirt today. Owen, how are we doing today?
Yeah, I'm brilliant, mate. This week's been a bit of a whirlwind to be a wrestling fan, obviously. With the news we'll be talking about soon, and yeah, not just obviously the big one that everyone's talking about that's been trending for what seems to be nearly a week now, but stuff in NXT which I love, and then obviously my fave, obviously with that what was a brilliant Fatal 4-Way at Raw, and looking towards that tag match on Friday for the match for the to go to Elimination Chamber between my two favourite tag teams. So that'll be an interesting one. We'll talk a little bit about that obviously later with a preview for Smackdown and what's going on. But yeah, going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, like we said, we're going to go through the Smackdown that we did, that obviously happened the day after last week's show. We're also going to talk about the big pay-per-view this week, NXT Vengeance Day. Big turn, heel turn that happened on that pay-per-view, but more on that later, as we already know. Raw was a very interesting reaction, and of course NXT afterwards as well was pretty good last night. But we're going to get started with the thing that everyone's talking about, and I've got some interesting stuff to say. I saw what happened live. I went back and watched it a few times. I waited to see what other people's reactions were going to be. First of all, I'm going to come out with this. Any one of you out there sending personal abuse or threats to The Rock's family should be ashamed of themselves. They are disgusting.
Yeah.
Ava Raine didn't deserve it. The Rock didn't deserve it. The family don't deserve it. Any personal abuse is disgusting. It should never be. You should never be in any community if you throw personal abuse out there. I'm going to put that straight out the way first. I think Ava Raine's deactivated her ex, her Twitter account because of this. But if Ava Raine ends up seeing this, Ava, we are fully on your side. Yeah. You don't deserve what happened to you and your family, and we hope you can. We hope you're okay. We hope you're moving on from this, and we hope you're okay.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the situation itself. So for those who don't know, it seemed like the plan before the CM Punk injury was going to be Punk versus Seth and Rhodes versus Reigns. That now doesn't seem to be the case, and the rumored plan is now Rock versus Reigns. However, and this is where I'm going to bring my point into this, I think there is another twist coming. And I know they muted some of the crowd reaction on Raw, etc. But when there are Rocky sucks chants, when there are reports around WWE suggesting that this could be potentially a work to build Cody up even more, it kind of gets me thinking, is there another twist coming? I really want there to be another twist coming personally. Yeah. I think it would be fantastic, and I know this may not be the best storyline in the world. However, what I would like to see is The Rock versus Reigns versus Rhodes in a triple threat, and then you have another triple threat main event of WrestleMania between Seth, McIntyre, and Zayn, like we discussed in the last show, which I'm very excited to go into a bit when we go into Raw. But Owen, your thoughts on the Rock and Reigns and Rhodes stuff? Does it seem like we're working towards triple threat, or do you think that WWE is just going to stick with the new Rock Reigns plan and Cody's just going to go after Seth?
The thing is, right, I think on Friday, I think it probably was the case. They're going to go with Rock Roman. I think just a fan outcry and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they had it planned that it was already going to be a triple threat. You never know, but the sort of act towards Cody sort of being that, I would say, Daniel Bryan-esque character from WrestleMania 30, that he is starting to sort of build himself and becoming a pure babyface. You see, he's the face of the company. Like, the amount of stuff I see with him, with the wrestling club, and you got to look at stuff he says on Twitter and just like even house shows and things like that. And just, you can see clips go everywhere of him. And even stuff like taking care of Brody Lee's family. Like I know
Yeah,
every year he takes them to a theme park with some of the friends and the family and that, and you could just see he's such a pure character, and I want him to make this main event happen, obviously. But I don't know. I can see there's three ways I can see it going: triple threat, one-on-one one-on-one Roman versus Cody with the Rock as a special guest ref to keep out the bloodline,
yeah,
or I see it as a contract that you do Rock Roman on night one, non-title, just for the tribal chief name,
yeah.
maybe, and then you get the actual title one-on-one between Cody and Roman on night two as the main event, which I could see also happening. But also, I don't particularly want that to happen either because I think Bailey and Io Sky deserve that main event. I think
Yeah,
their story I've been watching from the beginning, and it's brilliant. And also Paramore for Mania. That's what Bailey's been saying. Obviously, big Paramore fan, and I hope that happens for her. But yeah, it seems to be like it's going to be a good show. It's good that we're getting this more interesting WWE because you see, I think on Thursday evening or Friday morning for us, there's a WWE kickoff show in Las Vegas, press conference WrestleMania, which obviously I think, obviously Las Vegas, that's obviously because everyone's there for Super Bowl. So to have a big show like that, especially with the interest we're getting, and they must have booked it ages ago if it's a T-Mobile. So
yeah.
I think that'll be a listen to see, and I think we might get the sort of twist in the tail there, and then the fallout from that would happen on Friday night on SmackDown.
I think that's a pretty accurate prediction there in terms of when the twist is going to happen, if there is a twist. Like I said, I saw people's reactions to this, and I listened to the Busted Open podcast, listening to Bully Ray, David, getting I think Mark Henry was on the show as well, seeing their reactions to it. I completely get the points where they're coming from, etc. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out, starting with that press event. I think that press event could absolutely be a work for the twist. Obviously, that was one of the main talking points from SmackDown. There is some other ones as well. Of course, you spoke about it there. Bailey versus Sky, the Bailey face turn. It finally happened. She spoke Japanese, which I love. I love that kind of work into the script of that
Yeah,
particular segment. I love that because it kind of someone put up a historic post up on the night, and I loved where they were going with this. So basically, for those of you who don't know, Bailey was turned on by both Becky. I think it was both Becky Lynch and Charlotte on NXT,
yeah.
and
It
then
was
two,
it was
three
the
years later,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it was to do with I forgot the name of the faction now, but I think it was Becky. It was Charlotte. I don't think it was Becky. I think it was Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and
Summer
I
Rae,
think
I
it was
think.
Summer Rae.
Yeah,
It was I forgot the name of the faction now, but it was like a 3-woman faction that Bailey obviously
yeah,
got turned on. That started her mega babyface push in NXT and with Izzy Moreno, and that caused a bit like obviously we talked about that last week. Um, and there was talks about. I know it came out that Izzy's going to be in Philly for the
yeah.
show, and she might be front row, which work it. I put out in the comments NXT sign her. I believe she's only 16 and Derby don't sign until 18, but still, for someone like
I
her talent, and I would still love to see some sort of engagement because she
yeah.
could she could get involved.
In terms of long term storytelling,
Yeah,
this is where they maybe start it. And I think as soon as she put she was in Philadelphia, I was like, this is an opportunity. That like if
mm.
you've got Bailey versus Sky, you're gonna have Kai, Asuka, um, and
Kyrie Sang.
Kairi Sane.
Yeah,
So you can then have. I know people want Sasha Banks, but she's going to AEW. I've no doubt. I think I've seen a report already this week that she's started filming all her content for the start of her
yeah,
AEW road. So Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, will be in AEW. There's no kind of twist in that.
no,
So if you need two people to help Bailey on the outside, who do you get? One of them for me is definitely Izzy Moreno.
yeah.
But then who else do you get? I reckon you bring one of the legends back. Either you bring Lita back or you give Trish Stratus a face turn.
I don't know. I feel like I would go someone from NXT. I
Who would
think,
you go with though? Because Tiffany Stratton's like a major heel, being the center of the universe gimmick.
yeah,
Who would you say is? I mean, Roxanne Perez is developing. We'll speak about it more about NXT. She's developing a more of aggressive side, so I'm leaning towards a Roxanne Perez heel turn at some point to do some more
yeah.
work in NXT. Who
I
would you
just,
say in NXT
yeah.
would come up and actually fill that role that could be good enough to maybe either get called up to the main roster or just help out on the night?
I don't know. I think Roxanne could be a thing with her, like, anger, because Bailey was someone that they've had things with for ages. Maybe
Yeah,
AJ Lee, like you said, maybe a legend like AJ Lee.
maybe.
If she's obviously decides to come back, I know she's had obviously issues with her injuries and things. So,
Yeah,
but she did see her training for that Hill show, and it does look like she's at least
trying.
ring fit, yeah, or at least trying to be ring fit. So we'll be interested to see what happens there. I think there's some really good, like I said, really good talent in NXT. We'll talk about that obviously a bit later. Um,
Yeah,
Fallon Henley could always be one. I think she deserves a run to the main roster. But if I'm going
yeah,
to say that, I'd rather her maybe do something with Mickey James, because there has been teases of her coming back with Nick Aldis. Obviously, in real life, Nick Aldis is married to Mickey James, so
yeah.
maybe something to do with that. Because you
I
could write
think
that in the
Fallon would be
story.
interesting, though. I think Fallon would be interesting, though, as well, because I swear it's Fallon that had that thing with Tiffany where she became, like, part of
Yeah,
her kind of thing. And because Tiffany's already on the main roster now with SmackDown, it's that whole thing again of, are they going to bring Fallon up to kind of continue that on a little bit back
yeah.
behind the scenes, but then have Fallon as like a sort of on and off SmackDown NXT before she makes the full call up at some point this year.
Yeah, this is what I like though about at the moment with Derby is that there used to be where there was no connection between NXT and the main roster, right?
Yeah,
When it was NXT, especially look at like when they had like Johnny Gargano and Ciampa up for like 2 weeks when the crowd was dead, no one knew who they were because at that time NXT was it was only on the network or just got onto to network television and no one knew who they are unless you're hardcore.
yeah,
And yes, they were brilliant wrestlers, but not. And we saw the characters that those guys were having, but you didn't know that if you weren't watching NXT.
yeah.
But now it's on USA in the US, and obviously here it's on BT or it's not BT anymore. Sorry, here it's back on
TNT.
the network, but it was on TNT or BT for a few years. And obviously next year everywhere else will be on Netflix,
Yeah,
and it's going on to CW in the US where people know who these guys are now, so you don't, and they can link stories. Like they used when Gargano came back, they did the thing with Theory using the Way
mhm.
storyline.
NXT
So
doesn't feel like I'll tell you what. This is something I've thought about for a while now.
yeah,
NXT doesn't feel like a developmental brand
it
anymore.
no,
You've got obviously the performance roster. You've got the performance center roster, which is obviously learning, training, developing their promo skills before they get onto NXT. But NXT now, and I'll say this till the day I die, NXT feels like a third brand now. It doesn't feel like a developmental brand. It feels like it doesn't
yeah,
feel like Raw, SmackDown, and then people develop in NXT. It feels like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and
yeah,
then people develop in the Performance Center before they go on to NXT.
yeah, and they use the house show circuit a lot for developing these young talents. You look at
Yeah.
even people like Ren Sinclair, who obviously I think she was in NWA before she came to Derby, and she's obviously just come up with Fallon, doing some things with Fallon, which we'll talk a little bit about with their tag match, but. You look at people like that. You also look at they're getting talent such as Dragon Lee. Obviously, was massive in AAA. I think it was. He won the tag straps in League before.
Yeah, the
Um,
future Lucha Libre,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, and then he didn't have that long in NXT. Obviously, he had a bit longer with the North American title run. There's come back up and done some bits in SmackDown. There's obviously some teases which we'll talk about NXT at the moment, which is these three faces, which is going to be
I've
an
got a
interesting.
theory.
Yeah,
I've got
we
a feeling I know who it is.
Yeah, but obviously when we get to NXT, we'll talk a little Vengeance Day. We'll talk about because they said they put it again last night in NXT. So
And then
yeah,
they
there'll
kind
be
of
some.
they recapped it on NXT, didn't
Yeah,
they? They put the teasers on Vengeance Day and they kind of recapped it again on
yeah.
NXT. Didn't
But yeah, I think it's a lot of talent in NXT, and I don't like you say. People say it's a developmental brand, but even in Derby, sometimes they say it's a third brand. They tour now, like their Premium Love events. Most of them, sometimes they'll be twinned with Sand Liver, and then Heat Waves being twinned with shows like
Yeah.
Money in the Bank and WrestleMania, but. Vengeance Day, Battleground, which happened in May. They had Great American Bash last year. Weren't events twinned with events with the main roster as per se, they were their own events and they sold pretty well. So
Yeah.
there's no need to sort of twin them. And I wouldn't be surprised if NXT maybe starts doing touring a little bit more. Maybe if it's just around the Orlando area, maybe even go back to Full Sail. You never know. Maybe just do a couple of settings outside of the Performance Center. I know it might be budgeting, and that's the reason why. But would love to see them go touring. Maybe even do stuff like they did in the past with maybe a few European tours on their own.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a potential opportunity that can do all of that. So obviously a couple more things from SmackDown. Obviously, we talked about Tiffany Stratton. She had a debut match. She looked great.
I
Obviously
was a bit
coming out.
surprised by that she's on
Yeah, yeah,
SmackDown because yes, SmackDown were crying out for heels that weren't Damage Control.
yeah.
But I'm a bit surprised it was Tiffany, just on the fact that I thought she'd be in Raw because of her, because she's. I know it's they don't like to split people up. I don't know if that was their decision. You never know, but yeah, I was a bit surprised she went on SmackDown. But at the end of the day, that's a brilliant heel to get for SmackDown, and wouldn't be surprised if she's up in that. She'll be. I think that'll be her first feud after Damage Control for Bayley when she wins the title.
I would say so. And you know what? I know she's recovering from injury at the moment for the next few months. For a while now. But I tell you one thing that I would like to see them build towards maybe in a year's time, and that's a WrestleMania match between Stratton and Flair. I
Oh
think
yeah,
I think Flair versus Stratton, in my personal opinion, when it eventually comes, will be a women's wrestling feud that, like The Rock and Austin, like Hogan and some of his feuds, like with Randy Savage, with the Ultimate Warrior. I think that Stratton and Flair will be a feud that defies generations. I think that will be a women's feud that is a generational feud because you've got Charlotte Flair, who is born and bred for this business, and then you've got Tiffany Stratton grinding her way as a youngster through the indie scene, the developmental scene, becoming the center of the universe. Two charismatic personalities in the women's division in WWE at different levels of their career. Charlotte Flair, the more experienced, but Tiffany Stratton reminds me of a young Charlotte Flair. All that arrogance and that confidence, and she's at that place where she can win title after title at some point in the future. Charlotte Flair's been there and done that, and imagine the paths that cross. I mean, it would be a perfect, in my opinion, it would be a perfect way to start this year's War Games. I think in a few months, when it comes to War Games, I would like to see Stratton and Flair, or if they do a WWE Battleground pay-per-view this year, in terms of it, instead of an NXT, I mean, obviously they're doing NXT Battleground, stuff like that. I would love it if they did Flair versus Stratton if Flair was ready for Battleground.
Yeah, I think, like say, Flair and Stratton both have incredible movesets and incredible talent. They both have two of the best moonsaults, in my opinion, at the moment
Yeah.
in Derby. Like Tiffy's, like where she steps up to then do it, and then obviously the air that Charlotte gets brilliantly. But I would start them off as a tag team. I think elevate the tag team division. I think, especially as heels, they're aligning quite well together. And then I think you do. I think if once Flair comes back, I think that's what you do. Just protect her a little bit more with an ACL injury. Maybe ease her back in with Tiffany. And then I say make them. They can pick up the tag team titles when she comes back. If they say maybe do it at Survivor Series, maybe do a fatal 4-way tag match. I think there's so much. If you've got 6 months to build this women's tag division, and you've got the ability to do that, you've got you've got Kabuki Warriors, you've got Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, you've got the Way, you've got I would even bring, like you say, Mickey and Fallon if you make them a tag team.
The Unholy Union as well, Alba Fire and Alan Dawn.
I think there's really good opportunity in WWE to build a really good tag division. Then you bring in, like I say, Tiffany and Charlotte, maybe go on a bit around the tag straps, lose them, then maybe have Tiffany or Charlotte turn on each other. I would say Tiffany turn on Charlotte.
I would say Tiffany turn, because then it gives Charlotte the ultimate opportunity to have that experienced face run, and it makes Tiffany look like the new heel Charlotte Flair. And I don't really want to compare, because I want everyone to be individual to each other, but I think that's the best way I can kind of compare them.
Yeah, I think they're the best. I think, yeah, I mean, I think if you think of Charlotte, Tiffany, I think Tiffany, you could see that, especially the start of the career, they think of her as like a new version, but like someone who could top Charlotte or someone
It's like
from
it's,
their
it's
own
like a version
system.
of it's like a version of that with their own twist on it.
Yeah, and a younger which I love. And if we can see that match maybe at WrestleMania 41,
Yeah,
maybe going into SummerSlam, maybe if you want to do a bit more of a run with the tag team, you can always make it for SummerSlam, and then yeah, go on from there. But like I mean, you've got on that brand now, you've got Naomi, you've got what could even be someone like Jade Cargill. I don't know if she's going on to Raw or SmackDown yet.
well,
When that comes in,
I think they're
yeah,
building. I think they're building for
yeah.
Cargill Belair.
This is what's meaning crazy to me, right? Is that in all three brands, WWE have very strong women's divisions.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have said that a year and a half, 2, even 3 years ago.
yeah.
That WWE have such strong women's divisions. For like, I mean, this is probably one of the first times ever that we feel like they're comfortably being able to main event shows,
I think the
main
women's
event
division is the
pay-per-views even.
strongest. I think the women's division in WWE across all brands is the strongest it has been in the company's history, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Obviously, another. I mean, there was a couple of faction sort of storylines going off. Obviously, B-Fab aligning with Lashley and the Profits against the Final Testament, which is Cross, AOP, Ella Ring, Scarlett. But the big one for me, I don't want to overlook that because I'm sure we'll talk about that heading into WrestleMania because I'm sure something will happen with those guys for WrestleMania. But the big one here that I want to sort of go on about, potential WrestleMania match maybe, and see what you think about this. LWO versus Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll drag it that long. To be honest with it,
Really?
maybe you never know. We're getting to that season, aren't we? So,
If you had the choice between LWO and Legado or Final Testament and we'll call them the Pride because that's the rumored name,
yeah,
for Lashley and the Profits and now BFAB as well. If you had the choice of choosing which one of those faction was to go to WrestleMania in terms of having a big match, what would you choose and why? Because I think you can make a case for both of them.
I think I'd go for LWO versus LWO, or what it's called,
Legado,
Legado del
yeah.
Fantasma versus Latino World Order, just because I feel like no doubt to the Pride and the Final Testament, but I don't think like the story's been all right and it's been a good story, but especially on WrestleMania, I just think that the better match would be Legado del Fantasma versus, just on the basis that they've got more experience, I think, especially with the women's side of it. No
And the
doubt
best thing about it is as well,
yeah.
the best thing about that match as well, that Joaquin Wild spot
Oh
when
yeah.
he's on that second rope at WrestleMania 40 in front of the
Yeah.
Philly Bell and he flies as high and as far as
Mm.
that.
I would
My
do
God.
I would do an 8-person mixed street fight.
I would. I'd do it like that.
Yeah. You can even add like, I mean, you've got, what I would do is probably do Vega, Rey Mysterio, because he'll hopefully back by then.
Maybe. Maybe.
And then I think you do
Wild and Del
Wild
Toro.
and Del Toro, then obviously versus Escobar, Garza, Camberto, and Electra Lopez, who I think is doing really well at the moment. She's improving a
Yeah.
lot more. I think it was the better decision to keep her in NXT for a while just to improve her. And
Yeah. If
like I said,
Mysterio's not back, in time for WrestleMania, you obviously put Carlito in there.
maybe, or even Dragon Lee, because I think Dragon Lee, will probably end up. I'm not no doubt to Carlito, right? Great wrestler. But I
Yeah.
think they would go for Dragon just to give him that experience.
Could that push a Carlito heel turn at some point though? Because if he's getting pushed
Maybe.
to the side by the
Yeah.
so-called next Lucha Libre, next generation Lucha Libre, could that push a Carlito heel turn? And then you got the whole Santos situation saying, I was right,
Yeah.
etc.
And also I think Carlito works better as a heel.
Mm.
So yeah. Like I mean, look, you look at back in the past and Carlito's best run was when he was US champion as a heel with John Cena. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would think maybe run a jealous angle and then turn heel. I think, but then it might be similar to Santos Escobar.
I was going to
But
say,
then,
there's
like
the
you say,
worry that fans will call it repetitive, won't they? But I
yeah,
think if you want to do that same angle, treat
you,
it a bit differently.
yeah. Also, call on it. Call on it with like you say, Santos Escobar saying, "Well, you thought about this. You told me, like you said. Well, I told you this,
Mm.
and then yeah, work it from there." So
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity to do that. So overall, a pretty eventful SmackDown on Friday. But in terms of pay-per-views, we move to Sunday, NXT Vengeance Day. Quite a bit to get into in this particular one. We'll start off with the final of the Dusty Cup, won by I don't think Baron Corbin will like me saying this, the Wolf Dogs.
yeah,
Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker winning the Dusty Cup. Burn the ships, best spear in the business against Trick Melo Gang. I mean, we were kind of thinking this was going to happen, weren't we? We were kind of predicting in the last show that Corbin and Breakker were probably going to win this one.
yeah. I think it got announced on NXT. We'll talk about NXT a bit more, but it did get announced that their title shot is happening next Tuesday. So on NXT, which I'm a bit surprised by. I thought they'd wait for Stan and Liver, but maybe they're doing this to maybe have, depending on if Bronze, it might be because Bronze doing a WrestleMania match, and that might be why. Or
Maybe
maybe,
could he be in the
yeah,
Gunter match? Maybe could it
yeah,
be Jamie Show at Elimination Chamber and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
Breaker?
yeah. Gunther can't remember. Gunther can't do a nose chamber, I believe, unless they've sorted
Oh
it. I don't
no,
know. I don't know what's going on if he sorted it. We've not had anything about it since. So he might have already sorted it. You never know.
maybe Gunter Russo does Raw at some point before
Yeah,
WrestleMania, and then you have
yeah,
Breaker challenge Gunter for
yeah.
WrestleMania.
NXT still have one special event before San Liver anyway. They have Roadblocks, so that
Yeah,
got announced. I think that's in February. So, but yeah, I thought they might even save that for Roadblock, but seems to saving it for next week. No, that's because Bron's leaving. But
yeah.
I think good. Like I mean, it's a great tag team. I love their dynamic at the moment, and what looks to be a very good match on Tuesday with the Delangelo family.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, did you see that bit in the Dusty Cup
Yeah,
match when Bron got to? I was so worried watching that. I thought he
yeah,
decapitated his own head. It was
yeah.
good. Like, slow down, Bron. Slow
It's
down.
happened already. It happened last year on NXT too
Yeah.
with Nathan Frazier. Just slow down, please. I love you running fast, but I do not want any of you to get decapitated on live telly, please.
We know you're quicker than Usain Bolt. Slow down.
Yeah,
No, but you know what? Bron Breakker is just I mean, we knew it already. He was an absolute freak of an athlete. Talk about freak athletes. Let's talk about a freak of a match. Dijak Gacy.
yeah,
Gacy, I swear to God, is the closest thing we've got in this company at the moment to the likes of The Undertaker or rest in peace Bray Wyatt.
yeah,
Like he's this kind of he used to be a cult leader. Now he's a bit of a freak personality,
yeah,
and I still think there's something here we're building towards with Gacy. I think the whole schism thing, of course, went out the window. The Diad, now known as the Grizzled Young Veterans, are in TNA Impact, or just TNA. We know that Ava's GM of NXT now. Are they building towards a new schism here with Gacy? Should we be seeing a new schism with Gacy? Or should it be a case of just a brand new cult for Gacy? Or could he go with a solo run?
I think they're going to build something with him. I don't know if it's a faction. I think maybe something solo, but you can see with him and Dijak that he can wrestle and he can wrestle well.
I'll tell you what I'd like. I'd like to see Dragunov versus Gacy because
Oh yeah,
Ilya Dragunov is the Mad Red Dragon. He's the Mad Dragon and he just doesn't quit. But then you
yeah,
got Joe Gacy, who's an absolute freak personality and doesn't know when to quit. That's just going to
yeah,
provide the most goriest, bloodiest match in NXT history. You have to bring the black and white graphics back.
yeah. And also Dijak, he cannot have a bad match on an NXT pay-per-view, can he? Like,
No.
like
Fair play to Dijak. He's
yeah.
brilliant.
Last year, he's had a few really good matches. The one I can remember straight off the bat is Dragunov at
Yeah.
Battleground last year in that no DQ match. That was insane. Yesterday or Sunday was insane. Like that. I think it was Jizak who took the fall through the table of foot soldiers.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, some of the spots were brilliant. And I'm like I say, I'm hoping Jizak can maybe come into the main roster. I think with
The tape
NXT.
round the eyes. The
Yeah,
tape round the eyes.
yeah. I love how then he did the feast your eyes and then he couldn't find him. But like it shows.
I think Dijak must have tweeted. I think Dijak tweeted afterwards as well. Like I think someone tweeted actually the gif of him in the T-bar mask with Retribution when they retweeted the tape around the eye spot. And it's like, this is Retribution.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
He needs another run on the main roster, in my opinion. Or I keep saying main roster, but like a run on Raw and SmackDown, maybe I think.
I would like to see him with a manager. I know
Yeah.
Dijak can cut a promo. I'd like it to be like the Heyman Lesnar second run, where it's Brock did a lot more talking than he used to, but also Heyman did his fair share. I'd like that kind of relationship with a manager, because I think with someone like Dijak, it could work. But I mean, I would like to see first in like a Cole, the Vision style stable with Dijak, someone else, and Drew McIntyre. People that have been misled, wrong done. We'll speak about McIntyre on Raw, actually.
I want to talk about that. That T-shirt was insane. I want to talk about that later because I love it, and I know the reason why he's done it, and it's a good how he's playing off who he's doing, which should be fun.
Heel status has gone through the. But I'd like to see the stable with like McIntyre, Dijak, someone else, like a people who've been wrong done by the system and don't believe that they're wrong. And to be fair, we'll go into it in more detail when we speak about Raw later in the show. I actually on McIntyre's side.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I'm more than willing to sacrifice myself and be the heel reporter on this show and actually stick up for Drew McIntyre here.
Well,
I've shown that support on social media this week. He's the bringer of broken dreams, for God's sake.
I talked to my brother a lot about this, right? And I like these people because they're hills, but they have a reason.
They're not wrong.
They're doing this.
They're not wrong.
It's smart. They're hills. Well, they're right. They're just being a dick about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't need to attack Cody after the match, but in his mind, he thinks he needs to do it to get where he wants to go.
Yeah.
It's his way of thinking.
Yeah, it could be very interesting. I don't get me wrong. I think whatever happens with WrestleMania, I think they might build towards something with Rhodes McIntyre in terms of a title feud after WrestleMania. But going back to NXT then, obviously some other great matches. Valkyria retained a title despite the cash-in from Lola Vice. The Family versus OTM. OTM, by the way, kind of gives me vibes of Crime Time, but also vibes of like what Swerve Strickland was doing with Prince Nana in AEW.
Yeah. The Mogul Embassy, I found a bit of vibes for that.
It was like a cross between Mogul Embassy and Crime Time with a bit more street vibe to it and proper Crime Time street vibe to it. I like what they're doing with that.
Yeah. Also, if we quickly go back to the Live Valkyria match, again, Roxanne and Live Valkyria always would have a match that is must watch. I think Vice was a really good sort of added to it that sort of still makes us crave that one-on-one match.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to say this, right? Tatum Paxley is some of the best talent on NXT at the moment because her character work at the moment is brilliant. And she's so desperate to make sure that Valkyria doesn't lose the title. So she literally, it's not like she's done a move or anything. All she's done to Roxanne is just basically grabbed her and just taking her off to the side.
Again, I'm on her side here. You know what? In my mind, I know for a fact this is, and whether she's angry with me or not, I do not care. I think this is building towards a Tatum versus Valkyria title match at Stand and Deliver. I think the turn post match will happen probably at the pay-per-view before Stand and Deliver, which I think
it's probably going to be at Roadblock. Yeah. But I can see them maybe doing the proper one-on-one match at Roadblock. And then going on to, and then, maybe she doesn't cost her the match, but she nearly costs her the match. Maybe Valkyria attacks her maybe or something like that.
They could do one of two things with that one, to be fair. They could either do Valkyria versus Perez one-on-one,
Yeah.
and then have Paxton make the turn post-match, or we have, and this is an idea that I just came up with in my head, and I'm literally doing this off the top of my head here, so it might go a bit pear-shaped. They could build up to Tatum versus Valkyria at Roadblock, but it'd be like, but the story behind that match, it's not really one of those matches where there's like a lot of actual moves. It's very story based, that match,
Yeah.
where it's like Tatum's like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to
Yeah.
fight you. You know, you're my BFF. I don't want to fight you.
Yeah.
And she keeps trying to attack, and then there's some kind of either quick roll up or that one fatal shot where Valkyria gets the 3 count, retains the title, and then we get the full on attack
Yeah.
post match in terms of a full on heel turn. So there's different
Yeah.
ways they can do this.
I could see them maybe doing a thing where like it's a number one contenders ladder match or a number one contenders battle royal like they did last time, or a fatal 4-way or something, where
Yeah,
she's basically in it to win the match. She's in it to basically win, to give Valkyria a night off.
yeah.
And then she walks to the ring basically saying that I'm just going to lay down. Valkyria hits her with a move. She then goes all psycho. And we get like maybe a no DQ match or something for Stan and Liver.
That would be, and to be fair, if you're going to do like a number one contenders to make it happen for Roadblock, to start off with, I think Perez and or Vice will definitely be in that number one contenders match.
Yeah, especially at the moment with NXT. We'll talk about a bit later about Tatum and Lola, which again, great finish. I did love that again. So, and some of the social media stuff is brilliant. So, yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later on the NXT bit of this. So, but yeah, so obviously that title match, and then obviously brilliant 6-man tag, and again, the North American title match was insane. Obafemi is freaking incredible. So
He's great.
yeah, and I can see him going on a long title run.
I could see him maybe break the record for the longest North American champion in NXT history. I could really see them do that with Obafemi, because I think it's someone who needs that kind of long title run. And then when it comes to and this is an idea I've got right for this year's Survivor Series War Games. I want to see Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, because if you imagine, let's say Logan Paul keeps the US title, for example.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a face-off during that match between the 3 mid-card champions, Logan Paul, Obafemi, and Gunther? Because I've got no doubt that Gunther will probably keep the Intercontinental title until at least the Survivor Series, depending, because the WrestleMania plans have changed. So I don't see Gunther losing his title now.
Yeah.
So
well, I can maybe see him lose it at Bash at Berlin, though.
What's that, sorry?
Bash at Berlin. I can maybe see him lose it there.
But is it smart to lose it at Bash at Berlin because it's in Germany? So would it be better with the pop if Gunther retains his title at Berlin? Because I think it would work better him retaining in Berlin. I think it could, if he loses it at Berlin, I think that could provide a very good like dishonor storyline. But I think for me, unless I see more leaning towards that storyline, I just think it makes more sense to retain it at Berlin.
Yeah, I think with Survivor Series, I think they're building to some sort of brand warfare, because I didn't particularly like it before, because there wasn't like, other than like the 1 month that they feuded, there wasn't anything. But you're sowing seeds, and maybe you do it because the draft is usually around the same time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you do the draft for the week after War Games, and you say that the winner of War Games gets first 3 draft picks or something like that.
Yeah, or the winner of War Games overall gets to choose someone from the other brand to draft into their brands. It could be one of the top stars. They could really put a twist on it here.
Yeah, I think that's do something where there's actual stakes, because I think, before it was just, here's your red shirt, here's your blue shirt, fight.
Yeah, should we put a petition on to see if we're going to get a one-on-one match between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis in that event as well? Because
I would love to see it.
I think the aggression that Adam Pearce showed last time he called War Games, I think that Pearce, I know Aldis can definitely go. I think Pearce and Aldis can still go.
Yeah, well, then both of them are former NWA World Champions, so
there we go.
To have a face-off between that and to see them, because Nick Aldis, I don't think that's the end of his wrestling career. I think
No.
in the ring, I think he'll definitely have a match or two because there's some matches I would love to see him
The
wrestle.
seeds are being sown at the moment with a few
Yeah,
people, aren't
yeah. So definitely,
there? Right then, we spoke about the North American Championship, Obafemi, Absolute Beast, Dragon Lee, still the future Lucha Libre. The finale. Ilya versus Trick for the NXT title, and then the turn of all turns. Now, first of all, on the match, great match.
yeah,
Ilya just does what he does. Trick, the pop that he got despite no Booker T. I thought Wade Barrett gave it a pretty good go.
yeah,
With the different ad libs over the top of that soundtrack, but man, Trick Williams is going to be so over when he hits his potential. Like he's already great as it is, but when he hits that potential peak, the pop for him is going to be Cody Rhodes levels in the future.
yeah. I think, like you mean, what that Trick has got so much recently, and it's not just in that environment of it showed at the last few pay-per-views and even SmackDown a few weeks ago, where it's not just in that NXT bubble with fans, because a lot of the time, people who go to NXT tapings are hardcore because they go every week because
Yeah,
they're from that area. Whilst you go to SmackDown, you go to these shows, but they're not there every week for NXT. They're not there in Orlando every week. They're not SmackDown. They're not going to every SmackDown,
yeah,
or every NXT. So, but to know that they know what he's like, and to have that pop is incredible,
yeah,
and he's so charismatic, and in the ring he's brilliant as well. He's run since he's sort of become more of a singles wrestler. Obviously, previously he's mainly just been there with with Carmelo. So to have
yeah.
him being a bit more of that singles wrestler, and he showed how well he's in the ring as well as on the mic. I think he's got a bright future, and I can see him being a future world champion.
100,000,000%. Right then, the turn, the finale of the event. I guess it's that whole kind of sort of thing again. Never trust the copyright logo this year
Yeah,
because never trust the
yeah,
copyright logo
yeah.
because when you put the right
Sean and
one,
Triple H love to do that though. They're
they
like
love it.
yeah. Like the first time I saw it, I think was Takeover when Gargano got turned on by Ciampa and started off that mega
Yeah,
feud. So, and then since then, you obviously had War Games. It's been a couple other times I think there was with maybe Undisputed Era. So I think it was one of them was Takeover UK. I think it was Blackpool,
I think so. Yeah,
where it was Imperium and they got blindsided by Undisputed Era leading to Worlds Collide. They need to bring Worlds Collide back at one point because I loved that pay per view.
I'd
Like I
like to
say,
see
we
that.
said last week about maybe do TNA. You never know. Maybe NXT Europe if that ever gets going.
I'd love to. I want to see. You know what? They made a really bad decision, in my opinion, getting rid of NXT UK.
Yeah,
I think they should have. I think they should have kept that and just built that as a separate brand to NXT and really give the UK audience something
yeah.
huge.
The thing is, the problem with it, right, is it did hoover up a lot of the indie scene,
Yeah,
which got real bad, especially like how hot the UK independent scene was
yeah,
that when NXT UK opened. Derby helped with that UK tournament. It showed the promise, but since NXT UK's closed, independent wrestling has got a lot better now back in the UK. You've
that
got
is true.
you've got Progress, you've got
Rev
Rev
Pro.
Pro, you've got you like I mean, I sort of try to follow as much as I can at the moment, with Progress and things, and they get people like Mustafa Ali on the shows, and they have good partnerships with Pro Wrestling Noah. Rev Pro have got partnerships with AEW and TNA. You would think as well, considering literally their women's champion and their cruiserweight champion are both signed to TNA.
Yeah,
So to have them both be there is brilliant, and I can't wait for the next show they do in Stevenage to see these kind of people be brilliant.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
But yeah, I mean, the turn itself. Then, I mean, Melo's gone full
yeah,
heel. And to be fair, it was nice to see the sort of never trust the copyright logo because it kind of gave me vibes of the Gargano Ciampa turn. It
yeah,
kind of gave me vibes of this mega feud that's going to go on for a long time.
yeah. Like I mean, I think this is gonna be the new NXT, the new Ciampa Gargano, in my opinion. I think Carmelo's going up soon, but I think they take this from NXT, bring it up to SmackDown, and put it on the main roster after Stand Deliver, maybe. But I think Trick stays NXT for a little bit longer because I think he has a run with the world title. I think they're doing a triple threat. I think they might do triple threat for Stand Deliver with Dragunov.
Oh,
We'll talk a little bit about that with the ending of NXT last week, obviously later on in the show. So to see the end of that show was yeah. But then also we'll talk a bit about what I'm gonna call it on preview before we get onto SmackDown about this match between Gargano and British Strong. I'm gonna call him British Strong Style. That's what easy to say. Because in my opinion, that is black and gold. That's it. Like it's the founding. Well, you would most think about if you think about NXT, you think Ciampa and Gargano.
yeah.
You think NXT UK, you think British Strong Style.
Yeah.
So I hope they say that on SmackDown, but you know. We'll talk probably a bit more about it later, but again, I've gone a bit of a tangent just because two favourite tag teams are going up against each other, which is going to be an incredible match. So
we love tangents on this show.
yeah.
Right then, let's move on to a very, very interesting Raw in St. Louis. And we start off with I guess a repeat of 1996. Rocky Sucks ringing out amongst St. Louis while Cody, Rollins, and then obviously McIntyre in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, the Rocky Sucks chants. I mean, that just showed the fan power and the amount of respect and love there is for Cody Rhodes. When you can make The Rock, who is like the most overfaced person in one of the most overfaced performers in WWE history, get booed at live events and get booed in St. Louis and get WWE to actually mute crowd reaction because of how much you were being booed. When you can do that to such an overface star in the history of WWE, you know you are the top babyface in the company.
Yeah.
Without
If you
even
can,
realizing
if you can do it, like on internet, right? A lot of people who will tweet about wrestling and comment on Instagram and that we'll watch every show.
Yeah.
And we'll look at the comments and we talk about it.
Mm.
People that go to shows, like some of the time, aren't the hardcore. Some of the time, like especially parents and things, they're there just see. But if they're booing The Rock, something's gone wrong. If he's a face,
Yeah.
So if we're getting like people at live events to boo The Rock, then something's happened here.
Something's gone wrong in WWE. I think WWE, at the minute are trying to come up with some kind of it may not be a full fix up, but it's some kind of fix up plan.
Yeah. Well, you said Royal Rumble 2014, Royal Rumble 2015, where people got booed out of the building because they thought the wrong person won. 2014, it was Bryan. 2015, it was Bryan. And both times they pulled out of the bag magnificently at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely panic stations in 2014 with Bryan. Obviously, they sort of tweaked it by the triple threat and the original match with Triple H. 2015, you booed the Rock, and this was like 2015 was like peak Rock as an actor.
Yeah.
And you were booing him. And just so you know, that Rumble was in Philly.
Yeah.
WrestleMania's in Philly this year.
Could they do? You know what? I've just thought of something here. Could they do The Rock versus Cody on one night, not the main event, but on one night, and then do Cody versus Reigns on night two?
I don't think they would do that just because I don't think The Rock would do a show where he's not the main event.
But
it's his ego sometimes at the end of the day.
So they could end up doing triple threat: Rock, Rhodes, Reigns.
Yeah, I think so. I think if they're going to go, I think that's the route they go.
That's in my opinion, that's the best way to fix this up. The best way to fix it up is having Rock, Reigns, and Rhodes.
My would be that he's a special guest ref, but I don't think he would go that way.
No, I don't think he would. In fact, there was a report out. I think one of the wrestling sites put a report out. I think one of the headlines was that there's a report that there is a sort of doesn't care about like the reaction and stuff like that. So if Rock's still going to be in the main event, you put Rhodes in the main event as well.
Yeah, you make it a triple threat, and I think Cody wins the title. Like you think,
I don't think Rock
need.
will want the title. He'll just want to be
No,
in the main event just for the
yeah,
eyes that are on the event. Reigns will lose the title, in my opinion, anyway. So the only other option is
yeah.
Rhodes.
Because if Roman keeps the title, he's not losing it until the next Mania. Because at the end of the day, they're not gonna. They've got such an important run with this title that you wouldn't lose it anywhere but mess at WrestleMania.
I don't think I don't think he breaks Sammartino's record. Yeah, I think he breaks Hogan's record if he keeps the title at
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
yeah. If he
But
breaks Martinez's record, we'll be here till WrestleMania 44. So,
yeah,
like, I don't think we want 7 years of Roman Reigns wrestling 3 times a year.
I mean I think that would be a very, very nothing against Roman Reigns, but that could be a very risky decision.
Oh yeah, if they ever do that, then people are going to stop watching the product
They'll
because
go back to Hell in a Cell 2019 all over again when they start chanting AEW.
oh god, yeah,
Or instead of AEW, they might start chanting TNA.
yeah,
No, I don't think WWE will do that. I think they're in a better creative direction now, surely.
yeah, yeah. The only problem with it, right, is I heard rumors that Rock's got his own guy now in creative.
Oh,
Like he's got him in there to talk about his stuff.
right.
But hopefully it all ends up well because we're I think The Rock will do what's best for business. I think at the end of the day, he sees how well Cody's doing. I think that's the best route would be to have him as your watch. To have hopefully, I think the route to go would be if you have Sami Zayn and Cody as your 2 world champions at the end of WrestleMania. I think you start WrestleMania night 1. I think you start with the world title, and I think you end with the men's WWE title. Because I think you end night 1 with the women's title. I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with we're going to talk now probably a bit about McIntyre and Zayn and what looks to be this triple threat that we obviously talked about last week. And Sean Sapp obviously said about it. I know you quite tweeted him about what happened, but Drew McIntyre's t-shirt, great t-shirt, and what I loved about it was he's obviously playing off this tweet everyone uses about using Grant Gustin at
Yeah.
the Arrow season finale, right? Makes me quite funny considering both Cody and and Punk are good friends with Stephen Amell. Obviously, Cody has been good mates with him for ages. He's been in AEW with him. He walked him
Yeah.
out to the ring, I think, for a TNT match. He wrestled at the original All In.
Yeah.
He obviously wrestled when he was Stardust. He wrestled ML at SummerSlam 2015. And also Cody was an Arrow. So, and obviously with Punk was in ML's wrestling show Heels. So I think that might be another reason why, because it's a bit like that, isn't it? So, but just to see him taking basically the piss out of like Cody, because obviously Cody knows what it's like. So Cody probably laughed at that picture at the end. He probably sent that to Steven, going, "Look at this."
Yeah. On Drew McIntyre, by the way, I want anyone who's watching this right now to clip this bit up and send it to Drew McIntyre because I want to show my full support for Drew McIntyre. He is the bringer of broken dreams.
Yeah.
He is the ultimate disruptor. He's going to become the world heavyweight champion, and he is the next face of the company. Fact.
As a half Scotsman, I agree.
He'll love that, to be fair. If someone sends this to him and he sees that, he'll love that. Like, we're going to be on Drew McIntyre's side. We're going to be Drew McIntyre's kind of promoters here. I think we're going to be ultimate McIntyre promoters here because we're both on his side here. We're going to be the heel. We're going to be the heel commentators and be on his side.
Yeah, I said Zayn 50 minutes ago. That was just because I thought that'd be best if Rock thinks it's best business. In my opinion, it should be Drew and Cody because I think Drew's one of the best talents at the moment. I think his character has got so much better recently, which they needed to happen because yes, he was good as a face, especially during the COVID times, but it was starting to feel a bit stale. To start with this character that's different to his Scottish psychopath character that he had when he came onto the main roster, but someone who's angry about the chances he's got and been ruined by the Judgment Day and the Bloodline.
Yeah.
I think it's a character that works, a character that people feel bad about. Like they feel
I was going to
sad. Like
say, like he's not wrong as a heel, and he's become this. And again, I'll give him two nicknames. If he wants to take them, feel free. The
mm,
Ultimate Disruptor and the Bringer of Broken Dreams, which, by the way, I really hope comes back in some form of remix.
oh
Because
yeah,
I've seen a remix of that with the bagpipes at the start, and that could be perfect.
yeah. I think I love because the thing is, I think they serve the rights to it because it's not like it's off Amazon. It's like it's on Amazon Music. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Like I think they serve the rights to it. So bring it back. I'd love to see it.
Mm.
I'd love to be watching WrestleMania Night 1. Obviously, we'll. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. We'll sort out. We'll probably put out on the when you'll Chall put out about our plans for WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a crucial weekend. I think Raw after Main is always a bit of fun too. So we'll sort something out. Don't worry, and you'll be able to see our reactions to what going to be a bit of a mental weekend, especially at this rate when we don't know what hell is happening.
Yeah, 100,000,000%. Obviously, the rest of Raw was fantastic. Seems like we're building towards a Ripley Jax match at
Yeah.
Chamber in Perth. Ripley's going to get this huge pop.
Yeah. Also, didn't know this until like my brother told me a week ago. Nia Jax was born in Australia.
Was she?
Yeah. Like she was born in Australia but raised in Hawaii. But what I didn't know, she was born in Australia.
Wow. I mean, I don't think that's going to get her a pop, but I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's an
I
interesting
think that's
fact.
why they're doing it because like she
Yeah.
was born in Australia. But yeah, I watched. I think it was Wrestle Talk that I watched. Might be wrong. Where they said that yes, it's heel versus heel, but they're being smart about it because people cheer Ripley like a babyface,
Yeah.
and it's going to be in Australia where it's hometown or hometown, but I know hometown, but home country.
Yeah.
Close enough. It's like McIntyre, where it's in a completely different country to where he lives, but it's Wales. It's close enough. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. At least in the right country this time. Where he is the babyface for it, where she's going to be the face because she's going to get the big crowd reactions. She's going to get the big pop, like you said, and she's going to be the one to sort of go through and win, hopefully. So I think they're building to Rhea versus probably Becky because she's in the chamber. I think
Mm.
because I already said so. I think that, like you said, the chamber. This is going to be my prediction for it. I think with the chamber, I think it's Morgan,
Yep.
Becky. She's already in it because
Yep.
Morgan's facing Zoe, isn't she?
Yeah.
Cargill,
I reckon so.
Indy Hartwell,
Could be. Yeah.
Australian,
Yeah.
and then I think because you
Bianca.
could add someone from SmackDown to Belair maybe, just to add a bit of star factor to it.
I mean, there's usually 6 spots in the chamber, so we're probably looking here at
Oh
Lynch.
yeah, 6. Yeah,
Lynch, Morgan, I'd say Cargill, Belair, Hartwell being from Australia. 6th spot. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they get someone from NXT to fill that, or they bring in sort of like someone that maybe get eliminated first, or
yeah.
maybe they look at sort of who's been one of the most improving performers. And maybe give it a shot.
Bring back Emma for one. She was so happy about it. Like
Australia.
That's such a sad tweet, wasn't it? When she she said, "Yes, we're getting a pay-per-view in my home country." 3 hours later, I've been released. It was so sad, like ridiculously sad. Like just like
Would she go back after that though? Would she ever go back after that?
No, probably not. But yeah, it was sad about that because considering, yeah, that was not great.
I'll tell you what, I would like, if they're going to fill that 6th spot with someone and it's not, Emma,
Yeah,
I would like either Maxine Dupree or Valhalla.
maybe, but I think Maxine's a bit too green, especially in the chamber.
Mm.
I think it should be found out quite easy. I think Valhalla, even Natalia, I think have someone a bit dependable in there.
Obviously, Natalia's been a legend for WWE for years, so that could be a really
Yeah.
good match for her.
Yeah, I don't know if Natalia's been in the chamber. She might have been,
I don't think she has.
unless it's the tag chamber.
I think she. I don't know. I don't think. Ooh, I
Unless she
think
was
no.
in the WrestleMania, unless she was in the 2020 chamber.
I think she was in a women's. I think she was in one of the women's chamber matches. I might be wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's either I think it's either a tag team chamber of the original one, the 2019 one,
Yeah,
or the 2020 chamber.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of the two.
Either one.
Yeah, but it's someone dependable that you can use at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm more leaning towards them going for a Ripley Morgan WrestleMania match just because of the
Yeah,
fact that Morgan has said on Raw she wants revenge
yeah.
on Rhea Ripley.
But I can see them going for Becky versus Rhea. Because to be
Maybe.
honest, the video I saw of her with Rue was so cute.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Like her face,
It
the
was
video where she's
adorable.
like tucked into like a brownie or something, and her daughter's just gone, no, don't have that, have this, while she's then eating the brownie in front of her face. It's like the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, I thought that was adorable, to be fair.
Yeah,
I don't know if Becky Lynch's daughter's going to end up becoming part of this business, but if she
yeah,
does, I think it'd be nice long term to see something with Becky.
yeah,
We don't want to talk about that too much now because she's way too young.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
think
think that's at 16 years too early. I think.
I was going to say I think we'll be sat here in our like 50s or 60s just going on about Rue Lynch's debut.
Yeah,
Right then, Intercontinental title. We know something probably won't happen at the Elimination Chamber, but Jey Uso stepping up to Gunter. I think they're going to do a match between these guys on Raw at some point,
yeah,
either before or after the Chamber, and then Gunter will get his next challenger at WrestleMania. Whether they do Gunter one-on-one, whether they do a 4 or 5-way match, maybe give Gunter more of a challenge.
yeah. I think it worked so well last year that I think they go triple threat, maybe, or a 4-way.
And this is where the showcase comes in at WrestleMania. I think they do an Intercontinental Championship showcase match, a 4 or 5 or even 6-way.
Or ladder. We haven't had a multi-man ladder match for a long while.
Years. I was going to say we had 2 back. I was going to say we had 2 back-to-back WrestleManias of it. We had 5 or 6-way at WrestleMania 31, and then we had a ladder match at WrestleMania 32 because it was Daniel Bryan 31 and Zack Ryder, woo woo woo, you know it, at 32.
Yeah, I want to see. Also, I want to see Matt Cardona. Like, I think let him be Matt Cardona. My brother, again, I'm gonna give credit to my brother about this. He said about at maybe Raw after Mania. Have Cody have a set because obviously Cody and Matt are good friends.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be the first feud for Cody if he wins the title.
Mind you though, Matt Cardona seems to be teasing being he seems to be teasing wanting to be this opponent in Mick Foley's last match at the minute.
Mick, please don't.
Like, you know what? To be fair,
you're a legend.
Fair play to Mick.
I don't want to see like I watched Ric Flair's last match and that was a dumpster fire. I don't particularly want to.
You know what? I think Mick Foley's last match could actually be good. I think that a death match for Foley's last match could be good because it's in tribute to Terry Funk as well.
Because it's a death match, I'm so scared of like something really bad happening
to Foley.
Yeah, I'd just be squeamish I'll be like in this mode for the entire time. Like, he's a hardcore legend and I love the guy, but I'm just a bit scared. Like, I'm a bit scared of something happening.
If it's going to be on the indie scene, it's going to give me like proper backyard deathmatch wrestling vibes. Or it's going to give me like 1990s ECW.
I could see it maybe happen on a GCW show.
That could be a case, yeah. Or they maybe get AEW or TNA involved because obviously Mick Foley's been TNA World Champion.
Yeah, but I could see. I'll just be a bit scared because it's like it's for 60-year-old Mick Foley in a death match. It'd be a bit like, but I see. My brother said this where Matt Cardona comes out, but he comes out. I don't know when he comes out. It says woo 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 like his original, and then plays his theme he has on the indies.
Yeah.
Because they can use it probably because Downstate do it. So it should be all right. And the downstate theme is amazing, so I don't want
Yeah,
to lose that again.
no, it's a pretty good theme. So yeah, so I think Jey Uso will probably face Gunter at some point on Raw before or after the Chamber
Yeah,
for the title, before this WrestleMania match. Finale, the bull rope between Rhodes and Nakamura.
yeah.
I reckon they do a different type of match at Chamber between Rhodes and Nakamura.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't think. I think this is the end. I think they do McIntyre Rhodes. I think at Chamber.
could they do a different type? Could they use this opportunity to promote 2K24 and maybe do it as either a casket match or an ambulance match?
Oh, that's a shout actually. Because I haven't seen an ambulance match in years. I don't
And then
think
it's
casket.
ironic, no, it was Orton v Edge, the last ambulance match that we saw in
Yeah,
WWE.
yeah.
But could they? I
No,
mean,
I think
because
it was. No, I think it was Orton McIntyre.
Orton McIntyre, that's it.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell 2020. I think. Well, that was Hell in a Cell. It was like I don't know when it was, but it was
It was
2020.
2020 or 2021,
Yeah, it was
something like that.
Thunderdome, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was during the Thunderdome times anyway. So, like, could we? I mean, McIntyre has got previous history with an ambulance match. Could we see McIntyre step into that match again?
Yeah, I think do a bit of obviously I think if you do McIntyre Rhodes, you can obviously turn it into a bit of a 2K thing with
Yeah,
Rhodes being on the cover, and you can say it's like a tie-in.
it's one
to
of the
an ambulance match.
returning match types on the new game,
Yeah,
and McIntyre's already been in one of these matches a couple of years ago. I mean, Rhodes
yeah,
being the cover of the game as well. I think from a business sense, I think it just makes the most sense.
yeah, and I think especially with the lack of champions that will be on the chamber mat, especially with I don't think Rollins will be fit to do a match
No,
there.
no.
Reigns is not going to turn up. Logan Paul looks like he will be. So
I
at
think
least
it'll
we've
be
got
Owens
the US
versus
title.
Paul again. I think it'll be Owens
Yeah,
versus Paul again.
unless it's a chamber, but they're announcing it on SmackDown. I think who his next challenge is going to be. So
Yeah,
we don't know. Gunther doesn't look like he's going to be there due to visa issues. So
the team titles could be on the line, maybe.
yeah, tag team titles are going to be on the line. I think
Yeah,
the winner of Friday night's BSS versus DIY match. By the way, if you don't watch SmackDown usually, please watch it. It's probably going to be amazing. If you
he's a Johnny
haven't,
Gargano super fan,
yeah,
so it's going to be a
but
very exciting SmackDown this week.
if you're a bit skeptical, I know it's not the exact same teams, but watch in British Strong Style, but watch DIY versus Moustache Mountain the Worlds Collide in 2020 because it's insane, and basically you're substituting Trent Seven for Pete Dunne. So
Yeah, and I'm so glad they've gone back to the Bruiserweight gimmick, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Needs to happen for about a year.
Yeah, so I think that's the match. It's going to be Judgment Day versus. I can even see him going triple threat, and how they did in the past. There was a WrestleMania, I think it was 18, 19. I don't know. I don't know what WrestleMania it was, but it was a triple threat.
Yeah,
Where it was triple threat, 2 full match, where where it was for 2 titles. I think it was the European and the Intercontinental.
I know where you're going with this.
First fall for the SmackDown, first fall for the Raw.
Yeah, but you know what? I think they might save that for WrestleMania to officially split the titles, ready for the new season post WrestleMania.
Maybe, but I can see them maybe having Judgment Day win 1 fall. Maybe if you do the triple threat,
and then a team from
BSS
SmackDown
winning the second fall.
Yeah,
and then going into WrestleMania, BSS will have like a really big fatal 4-way showcase match.
That could be good.
Yeah. And then
Raw, do awesome truth versus Judgment Day for the Raw one.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. That's a potential idea for WrestleMania. So in summary, then we're thinking Judgment Day do a 2 falls match for both titles. 1 fall for the Raw one for the SmackDown one, and then split the titles before WrestleMania. Have Judgment Day Awesome Truth for the Raw one, and then on the other night do SmackDown British Strong Style, maybe versus either DIY or they go for something, someone else, maybe bring one of the two.
Like I say, maybe do 4 teams.
Yeah.
Even though, a lot of the big teams are on Raw, but just do it as a massive showcase between all 4.
You know what? It might be too soon to send these guys from Raw to SmackDown, but I would like to see if they're going to go split the titles before WrestleMania. I want to see if the SmackDown ones. I mean, my dream scenario. I know you're a DIY fan, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I want to see
Creed.
British Strong Style versus the Creed brothers.
Yeah, Creed's amazing.
That is a super match. Or if they're going to do a showcase, you put DIY in there, and you maybe no. You know what?
Oh, you say
WrestleMania. Hang on, WrestleMania's in Philadelphia. So you have British Strong Style, you have the Creed brothers, you have DIY.
Right.
One of the most legendary tag teams you bring back for the crowd in Philadelphia, the Dudleys.
I don't think I would love it, but
just for the Philadelphia pop, I think
Yeah.
that if you do a four-way as a Philly street,
yeah.
Like you have, they don't have to win the titles, but I'd like to see the Dudleys in there for the pop.
Yeah, I just don't think they will. I think Devon and Bubba Ray are both of TNA. I don't know.
But to be fair though, they have worked with TNA to do these both appearances.
Yeah, they could do something.
I think Bully Ray did a bit of teasing on Twitter about WrestleMania being in Philly as well.
Yeah, maybe it'd be a good idea. Like, I'd love to see it. Like,
I just think from a pop point of view, I think even if they don't win the titles, I think from a pop point of view, I think it's just they could do some wonderful spots with some of the most up and coming tag teams like that.
Or you do them as like special enforcers or something. If like one of them's not fit enough or anything like that, but have them involved in the show. I think they should do at least like an ECW
style,
like little segment. Yeah. Maybe. And which
Dreamer.
Yeah, Dreamer you can probably put in. Obviously not RVD because he's doing some stuff for AEW. By the way, how is that guy still doing a picture perfect corkscrew drop they did on Swerve on Wednesday on Dynamite was insane.
That was a pretty good move on Strickland there on AEW.
Yeah, it's like I don't know I forgot how old he is now, but yeah, play to him. And then because they're already doing. I think there's gonna be ECW guys there anyway because they're doing like a VIP thing that they do. So
with it being in Philly as well, it makes sense.
So why not do an ECW segment?
Like they did with the Rock Ronda Rousey Rock segment with the Authority.
Yeah, you might well do
that. That could be good. Yeah. You could even make a couple of surprise entrants as well. You could maybe bring a couple of people back from ECW that you maybe didn't expect to see back. People like Sandman or Sabu. Raven's a good shout, absolutely.
I would love to see Raven.
Dean Malenko.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of ex ECW champions. Jerry Lynn.
Yeah. Rhino, but I think he might be in TNA. Well, then again, you can use the TNA.
They could do a bring back for him, definitely.
Yeah. I think there's just so
CM Punk, obviously a part of ECW. Obviously, he was part of the newer ECW, but still, CM Punk could get involved with that and sort of speak about the generations of ECW and sort of pay a bit of tribute to that. Because even though ECW, the newer version, when it was sort of coming towards the end around the 2010s, etc., it wasn't great, but it still gave us the talent that we knew and loved the years afterwards, like your Christians, your Miz, John Morrison, CM Punk, rest in peace, Big Daddy V. Kane was on there at one point.
Yeah, you got to remember they were the first TV appearances of Kofi Kingston and Sheamus. So,
exactly. Yeah, ECW kind of felt like what FCW was before.
It was a proto NXT.
Yeah.
I don't mean the game show NXT. I mean the proto.
Yeah. I can't believe that's 10 years old. You know, I think that the game show version is like over 10 years old or nearly 15 years old. It's mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bull rope match was fantastic, and then we got the McIntyre attack. For me, you know what? I think they're gonna do roll. For me, I think whatever happens at WrestleMania, I think they're going to do some kind of fatal four-way on a Raw after WrestleMania. I think the WrestleMania plan should be McIntyre. I mean, I don't know if this is the plan already or whatever, but I know we spoke about this as a potential option for WrestleMania. McIntyre, Zayn, Rollins, triple threat.
Workhorse
triple threat. And then you have a Raw after WrestleMania or a couple of Raws after WrestleMania where you have a fatal four match where you have the title on the line, or you have a number one contenders triple threat match for the next pay-per-view to face the world champion between between Rollins, McIntyre. Let's say, for example, the triple threat is Rollins, McIntyre, Zayn, and let's go with McIntyre winning. You then have Zayn and Rollins, winner faces McIntyre, or you go triple threat, you include Jey Uso into that.
I have a feeling that if Rollins loses, he takes time off.
So maybe do Zayn versus Uso, Jey Uso.
Yeah, just do it as like friends. Yeah,
McIntyre.
Yeah, I think if McIntyre wins, his first feud should be with Uso.
I'd like to see that continue because I think we teased a bit of it towards War Games, and then I want to see more of that now.
Yeah, I think so.
But then you've also got, like I said, we've also got more potential feuds as well. We've got Zayn, we've got Priest, we've got a potential return for Sheamus. We've also got McIntyre Gunter reignited as well.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of things there for McIntyre. If Sami Zayn was the world champion, what could they do? Because again, they could do Zayn Priest, they could do Zayn Balor, they could do Zayn versus Jimmy Uso, maybe.
Yeah.
If Jimmy Uso comes across to Raw, because I still, in the back of my mind, I still think they're going to do Uso versus Uso at WrestleMania at some point.
Yeah, because also I do also think that when Roman loses the title, he then takes time off completely, and he'll take a few months off.
Do you reckon Jimmy Uso does his face turn? Remember they do Uso versus Uso, and then in the title match, Uso gets called in to help Reigns, and he refuses and does the face turn, maybe.
Yeah, and then you do something there. So
yeah,
I'll be interested. Yeah, but also good episode of Raw. Like,
I thought it
wasn't as formulated. Like, that's the word. But like, it wasn't as structured as other episodes of Raw have been.
No, I think there was some clear. Yeah, it was very much go with the flow, see what works, see what happens.
Yeah. So I think it was a brilliant episode of Raw, and I'm really excited for next week. So
yeah, absolutely. Obviously the big pay-per-view we talked about earlier was Vengeance Day. What a fallout from NXT Vengeance Day. First of all, the celebration of the Wolf Dogs. I mean, again, like we said earlier, great chemistry. But let's speak about the tag team division right now, because there was a match on that show between Axiom and Nathan Fraser and Malik and Enofe. Malik Blade, I swear to God, is an absolute freak of an athlete. He was incredible in that match.
Man, just to say, all of them are. Why, like, NXT's tag division now seems insane. Like,
and to think it started off in the days when we had, like, I mean, I can't remember some of the tag teams from the first NXT, but we started getting like the first kind of golden era with like American Alpha and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, in the original NXT, you had people like British Ambition. They were the original champ. Wyatt family started NXT. They had a tag run.
Oh man, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt and Brody Lee.
What was the tag team called? What were they called? It was like Connor and
the Ascension. The Ascension,
yeah.
They were the original dominating tag team.
Yeah, they were monsters in NXT. They got to main roster and they're like, no.
I don't know what Victor's doing now, but I know that Connor is like Big Con, and they've kind of completely got rid of the design faction in TNA right now. So I think they might be leaning towards a Connor Dina feud and sort of Big Con doing like a solo run, which I think he snapped Dina's neck, or like looked to snap Dina's neck on camera.
TNA did some weirdly like
they take it straight to a whole new level. I'm
pretty sure they killed Eric Young off because they signed a deal with WWE, and then he never made an appearance. And then he kind of risen back.
Yeah. And then Crazy Steve's new mask, where he takes it off like that, and he takes it off like that, like he's ripping skin off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the design on that mask is like, whoever designed that mask in TNA, I salute you, because the way he just rips it off like that is just amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, there was so many good matches on NXT this week, and the tag team division's an absolute insanity. Like, if you're introducing now people like Axiom and Axiom and that tag team, you're thinking about like, you mean Enofe and Blade. You're thinking about You're looking also at the people from SmackDown and Raw coming down. LWO. You're thinking, like you say, the Wolf Dogs. You've got the family. You've got OTM. You've got so many tag teams now. That I'm so excited about, and then you're looking at new talent and people coming in, like we're going to talk about with this massive tease about the three faces thing, which
I've got a theory.
what I know about it by looking is that it's a Japanese saying. I don't know, like I know everyone's joking about Okada, but I don't think it's going to be Okada.
You know what? We're going to talk about Hayes and Roxanne Perez and the potential Melo matches coming up. But I want to speak about these teasers right now. So for those of you who haven't seen, man has three faces. One the world sees, one his family sees, and the real one no one sees, but reflects the true evil he truly possesses. I've seen the teasers. I've seen the context behind him. I know for a fact who it is. Make it rain. Okada is coming to NXT. Okada is coming to NXT, and they've started teasing it to the moon and back. And you know what? I don't think we're going to get a version of the current Rainmaker version of Okada. I think we are getting an Okada that is the Rainmaker, but he's the evil Rainmaker.
Yeah, maybe a little bit like his early New Japan run when he was leader at Chaos. Yeah, I want to see that happen. The thing is, right, is that I don't think he goes to NXT. This is the only problem with me, right? Is that
I think he will. I think he will.
Yeah, but my reaction, I thought it was yes, he's not Japanese per se, but he spent a lot of time in Japan. And that's Tamatonga.
Well, yeah. That's a good shout. To be fair, though, I think that this gives me Nakamura vibes, where he's a big enough star to be on the main roster, but I think he needs to be on NXT to demonstrate how big of a star he is, because he is a big star, and we know he's a big star. But I think that NXT is the right platform, because you could do. I mean, it might be an evil version of the Rainmaker, but it could also be a face evil Rainmaker. So that links to a potential. When you look at teasers about the evil possession, that could link to a feud with Gacy.
Yeah, and also I think I'm gonna be honest with NXT, right? You know, if they debut him in the Performance Center, the pop he's going to get is genuine. I think if you do it on the main roster, yes, people like us, we've watched New Japan, we know what he's like. Some of the casuals sort of know who he is, but doesn't know, because he has done some AEW stuff, but doesn't know him fully. Well, if you know who he is, if you guys haven't watched Okada, watch some of his matches in New Japan, because oh my God, he is one of, if not the best wrestler on the planet.
Yeah.
And he will, especially on NXT, if we can see Okada versus Dragunov, holy shit, that would be insane.
That's going to be a mad match for the NXT. Like I said, I would like to see if it's the last bit of the teaser where it's like reflects the true evil he truly possesses.
Yeah,
I want to see Okada versus Gacy.
Yeah,
I think they could do some crazy stuff in that potential match. Speaking of Gacy, and this comes on to Carmelo Hayes explaining why he attacked Trick Williams and confirming, by the way, he was behind the attack backstage as well. We saw the attacks as NXT went off the air, by the way. We'll speak about what Hayes said, etc.
Yeah.
I think they'll lean towards two potential matches before the Trick Williams match is stand and deliver. I think they'll lean towards a Melo versus Gacy match and a Melo versus Dragunov match.
Yeah. This is the thing, right? Is that we all think like it's not that far away to Mania, but there's still 2 months.
Yeah.
So he's got time. Trick's probably going to be off for a few weeks. I think he'll be off till Roadblock to sell the injury.
I think Melo will win his match at Roadblock, whoever it's against, whether it's Gacy or Dragunov, and then maybe not Dragunov, but I think that Gacy maybe, and then we get a Trick Williams return at the end of Roadblock or at the end of that match.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. And like like I say, this week they're building towards Roadblock with Perez versus Lola Vice. Obviously ended that match was sort of ended with a distract or Paxley. She ran up with the breakout tournament contract that doesn't need it anymore, considering she exercised the right on Sunday. She
But
came
then
out.
again, Tatum's a bit psychotic, so she might
Yeah,
not be fully
yeah.
aware of that.
Which Lola Vice then hit the Brenner. I think it was Brenner Snotches. I forgot what it was called. And then Roxanne hit Pop Rocks, and then it was out on the social media pages. Paxi was laughing, running away while Vice were chasing her. It was funny. I think that'll probably be a match that'll probably get announced next week now. Vice versus Tatum. Maybe leading towards. I would have it like you say. If there's a match for Roadblock, or match to see who faces Akira at Roadblock, triple threat with Paxley, Vice, and Perez.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the direction.
Yeah, but like I mean, another great episode of NXT. NXT is becoming one of my favorite shows to watch at the moment.
Yeah, I thought Carmelo's promo when he kind of faked the trick return halfway through. I thought that Hayes' promo on NXT last night was spot on.
Yeah, so HBK, you can see the training HBK is giving it. Like that's the trick thing is straight out of Sean Brett 2000 and whenever it was promo.
Yeah,
which fair play because I loved it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of brilliant stuff coming up soon, and yeah.
I mean, SmackDown's obviously coming up this week. Last thing we need to cover. I mean, is there anything that you've seen already that you think is going to happen on SmackDown this week?
What we know is Oldest is revealing Logan's next challenger.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get obviously the fallout to the press conference. So if you guys don't know, if you've not seen, there's a press conference for WrestleMania at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. If you're in America and you do live near it, if you've somehow stumbled upon this channel and you have watched this, if you don't know, there's a press event happening in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and it's free to attend, I believe. And the fallout of that will be happening on SmackDown. We do not, and matches apparently will be set in stone there, or some matches maybe. All we know is that Cody's there, Belair's there, Rock's there, Roman's there, like Triple H is there. So I imagine it's most of the biggest stars.
And then obviously I still think there's a twist coming.
Yeah, going into obviously the fallout at SmackDown. Do not know if The Rock's going to be there or Roman's going to be there or anything. I don't think they've been announced for it, so don't know about that yet. But yeah, there's still, and then obviously next week on NXT, there's the tag team title match. They did. I forgot what they announced on Raw for next week, but there's some other matches being announced. And then obviously on SmackDown, you've got British Strong Style versus DIY, which we have talked about. Winner will then go and face Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber. I think there'll be a double DQ or no contest due to Judgment Day shenanigans. So that's my prediction.
If they're not going to do 2 falls and split the title before WrestleMania, they may DQ it and then do a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think they lose the titles at WrestleMania. I think Judgment Day potentially lose the titles.
Yeah, I think I'll start doing like the start of the fall of the Judgment Day, because at WrestleMania it would be 2 years.
So what they're going to do for sort of end it by this then. What they're going to do for the fall of Judgment Day, for the intent to start it post WrestleMania, are they going to go with a priest face turn first? Are they going to work towards a Dominic turn? Is it too soon for a Dominic turn?
I think it'd be Priest that gets turned on. I think Finn and JD will become a unit. I think them two will just become a unit. I think Rhea's going to turn face with Dominic, but Dominic's still going to be that hard-ass character.
I think it's going to be a face that still gets booed heavily when he talks.
Yeah. It'll just be the fun of it. But
it's kind of like Kurt Angle, isn't it? It's like when he was faced, he still chanted "You suck." So it's kind of like one of those things.
Yeah, so I think that will happen. Priest will become like your hard, like ass baby face, I think. Yeah. Still keep forgetting he's got the briefcase. Like what are they like?
what's the point? Are they going to cash that in at WrestleMania? What are they going to do
Like,
before?
yeah, I'm really confused by what's happening.
Is Rollins going to retain at WrestleMania and
Yeah.
Rollins does like a promo and then he
Yeah.
gets attacked from behind and cash it
We're
in
gonna
more?
we're gonna get confused. We're gonna get like, I don't know. Is he gonna? I was always saying maybe hold it till next Money in the Bank.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe do that.
Or again, we put this idea in the last show last week. I think you put this idea last week. Maybe try and cash it in. Contract's not in there.
Yeah.
And Bella kept the green one. That was an idea that you put in last week.
Yeah. So you never know. You can see what happens. But I mean, we've got one pay-per-view until WrestleMania. We've got, I believe, 6 or 7 shows before Mania, like TV weeks of shows for each brand. So
Elimination Chambers next week, isn't it?
oh, I keep forgetting it's not. It's a few weeks, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's not next week. I think it's the week after.
Yeah. In fact, I've got it written down actually on my schedule. I don't know why I asked. I had it on my schedule.
Yeah.
I don't want to get these dates wrong. That's the problem. I've got it written down, but I don't want to get the dates wrong.
Yeah.
So it is the 24th. So yeah, it's the week after next.
Yeah. So I think. So if we look at it, it's that. By the way, if you don't know the timings for that, I believe it's 10 a.m. in the UK.
I think so. Yeah.
And I think it's 4 a.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. If you're in the US, you're gonna feel what the UK feels every week, every week on TV. And if you're British, you'll be happy as hell. And unless you'll watch football when your team's playing early, and in that case, you're gonna have to watch 2 things at once.
I'm gonna have to watch this on the way to the Rovers Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do.
If we're at home, if we're away and I can't get there, then I'll probably just watch it at home.
Yeah, we're at home. We're at home that day, so.
So 24th of February.
Yeah, we're in the Wickham, so I'll be on my phone on the way there, probably watching the Chamber.
24th. Yep, we're at home against AFC Wimbledon. So yeah, I'm gonna be watching it on the way to the stadium. Definitely, probably use the Belgian bar as Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, next week looks to be a good week with, like, I mean, at the end of this week into next week with the WrestleMania press event and all that. So yeah. Caps off this podcast, which has been a bit crazy with everything that happened last week. So yeah.
It's going to be a brilliant show on the WWE show next week. We're going to be covering the fallout of the WrestleMania press conference, this SmackDown, Raw, NXT as usual, and then we go into the next show after that, which will be, Elimination Chamber fallout probably. So So I'm really excited about this. I think we might be. It's either preview or review Elimination Chamber the week after next. So it's going to be interesting no matter what. I'm really excited about next week's show either way, because we're going to have the fallout from the press conference, and then we'll look at previewing Elimination Chamber as well with everything that's gone on in the past few weeks. So it's going to be a big show on the channel next week either way. Owen, absolute pleasure as usual. We've gone through a lot. I think it might be just as long, if not just a little bit longer than last week.
Yeah.
So perfect. It's going to be an interesting week.
Yeah, I mean, some of the matches I'm so excited to watch, and then obviously seeing the fallout of the WrestleMania press event. So we'll hopefully confirm some matches for Mania as well. We've already been one, obviously, of Bayley of SEO Sky. We'll probably get the WrestleMania match for the WWE title being confirmed.
Yeah, the World Heavyweight title maybe at some point in the next week or two as well.
I think that'll be confirmed at the Chamber.
Yeah, I think we might record a video at some point before WrestleMania, sort of like before they start confirming more things. We'll try and do like an early prediction card for WrestleMania if you want.
Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll because if we do it, maybe incorporate it into the one after Mania, or one after Chamber, maybe.
Maybe, or we might do it. Or we might do a very early one in the next couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe because maybe do one that comes. Yeah, maybe do one just before the Chamber.
Yeah, I think that could be a right time to do it. So we'll either in the podcast or we'll do it as a separate video as well as sort of extra to the WWE show. We'll look at doing that. But there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching and listening to the WWE show here on the YouTube podcast system. This is Owen, this side, if you're watching this. Owen here, of course, rocking the Johnny Wrestling merch today. I'm still looking for one of my wrestling shirts, so I don't know where I'm going to put that. But yeah, Owen's there. I am the CHALL. We will see you at the same time next week on Thursdays. The shows are on Thursdays. So for now, ta-ra for now.